Okay, here's one that says, every moment matters. Tell a story about UBP.com. All right, I started this with a question. Has anybody ever heard of UBP.com? Okay, of course you have. Anybody ever heard of Yahoo.com? Of course you have. Google.com. Okay, simply put, UBP.com stood for Universal Black Pages. Remember the committee I was talking about a little while ago that we started in BGSA? Some of the guys on the committee created a directory of African-related content on the internet, called it the Universal Black Pages, and they registered the domain name UBP.com. We'll tell this story really quick. It became as popular as you might imagine. What do we see now? We see things go viral very quickly. Well, that was happening back in the 90s too, but it was a very underground thing because when I first came to Georgia Tech, we didn't have internet browsers yet. There was no Internet Explorer, there was no Netscape. You browsed the internet from a command line on a Unix terminal. You didn't have pictures. Imagine you had to read everything. You had to read everything. Nowadays we don't read anything. But anyway, the committee used to actually communicate with the guys that started Yahoo, and we saw what happened with them. And we said, man, we can do the same thing because we got like this niche, right? So started a company in the BGSA office. I was brought in as the strategist, if you will. I didn't know how to write a search engine. I wasn't that great of a programmer, but I saw the importance and the potential of information technologies, and hopefully y'all understand by now that I can turn a phrase fairly well. So that's the guy you want to put in front of what you're doing and create all the strategies and write the business plan. So I did that, and we met with a lot of success and actually raised quite a bit of money. Go ahead and do it as a company. For the sake of time, I'll tell you, it all fell apart, and I'll tell you why it fell apart. Anybody know what the most important part of the company is? Do you think it's the technology? Do you think it's the financing? Do you think it's the marketing? That's the people. It is always the people. Always the people. And not simply the people, but the relationship that exists between those people. That is a relationship that is on the level of marriage. And why is it that way? Because you're going to experience a whole lot of things that don't quite go the way you want it to go, and that will tell you how deeply and how connected you are with those people that you're working with. And to make a short story shorter, it all fell apart because everybody wanted to grab glory that wasn't even there. But another story has a happy ending. I go back to the letters, UBP.com. Does anybody find anything very unique about that name? There's probably nothing unique about it, but it's short. It's very short. What does that mean in the internet domain name world? It means it's valuable. That means it's valuable. In 1995, we knew that was valuable because we saw somebody snatch up abc.com, and then the network had to go and buy it from the person that snatched it up. They called it cyber squatting, and it got really big back in the mid-90s. So when our company tanked, you know how, you ever seen a movie where they abandon babies or whatever by putting them in a basket and putting them outside somebody's door and knocking on the door? My partners did that to me. They brought all the corporate records and put them on my doorstep, knocked on the door, got in the car and drove off. So I come out, I got this basket sitting in front of me, and I know that in that basket is a mess and a whole bunch of bills. Merry Christmas, Derrick. We finished with it, you got it. And they gave it all to me because I was the guy in front. Now, this is the part where I tell you I was employed by sweat equity. If you don't know what that is, that says you're not getting any money, you're not getting any stock, you'll earn your keep in the company by coming in and working. And things folded before I ever got my piece of it. So now all I have is this basket. Now, I guess at this point, I'm in bad shape because I got to pay all these bills. One of the bills that I got to pay is I got to pay the registration for our domain name. But now, my name's not Google the Fool. It's actually Derrick Spencer Brown. So even in 1996, I knew that the one thing that I had was that name. I knew I had that name. Now, things aren't worth any more than anybody is willing to pay you for them. So I said, all right, well, I'll sit with this. You keep that name registered. You understand at some point in your future, even if it's years from now, that name is worth something. So I'll make a short story shorter. In 2010, I got a call, and this happened maybe 5 or 6 times every year. I would get an email from somebody saying, hey man, I got this project, I really want that name, blah, 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 blah. I'll offer you blah, blah, blah for it. And I'm serious now, this is not a scam, so email me back. So I says, well, one day somebody's going to be serious enough to call me, because I put my phone number actually on the internet registration. So I got a call, and I got a call from a lady with a French accent. She was from Belgium, and she said, yeah, I wanted to call you so you know you're serious about obtaining this name. Are you doing anything with it? And I said, well, no. I mean, I still host my private content with it. It has some sentimental value. It's going to take a little bit for y'all to get it from me. What's this project that you're doing? She said, well, I can't disclose the nature of the project. I said, okay, well, now, is it above board and legal? Because I don't want to get tied up in nothing crazy. And she said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll put together a serious proposal for you if you're willing to consider it. Now, the reason I have tied this to every moment mattering is what made last year, what made me focus more on marketing and selling the domain name last year is I've now had Keisha in my life, and when you're married or you're about to get married, you start thinking about things differently. You start thinking about things in a much more long-term fashion. And I started thinking, man, you know, I'm sitting on all this intellectual property, and I got to stop being so scared to do something with it. I need to turn the memory of this thing loose anyway. It's 15 years after the fact, man. All that stuff is gone. So I didn't tell her right up front what I was about to do until I had that first conversation. And I told her, I said, you know, I think I'm actually going to try to sell this name. And she said, okay, well, you should go ahead and do it. Now, that might sound simple, but when somebody you're about to marry, and I don't think I posed at that point now, but when she tells you, all right, when she says what she said, that actually let me know she believed in what I was doing, and it just didn't sound crazy to her. And that meant a lot to me. Did I tell you that?
No.
All right, well, that meant a lot to me. So I called the people back, and I said, well, look, let's go ahead and do this thing. So they said, do you have a lawyer? I said, yeah, I am he. I'll negotiate this on my own. I know what I want out of this. So they said, well, are you prepared to make us an offer? I said, no, ma'am, because I went to a different school of negotiation. You made me the first offer. So they made an offer. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, let me go talk to Keisha. And talked to Keisha, told Keisha, nah, I want a little bit more. So I went back and told them straight up, here's what it's going to take. Now, I still don't know what their project is, but I know they're serious about dealing with it. And now to make my short story shorter, they actually came back and said, well, you know, it took us a while, but came up with the money. Go ahead and buy this thing from you. I said, cool. Now, all at once, 15 years of history and agony even kind of came to this one moment of clarity where you just understand, okay, that's exactly why I did what I did. And those moments of validation, very powerful, very important, and in this case, pretty lucrative. Because after we closed the deal and I negotiated it, it's like a piece of real estate. So if you are looking for a great investment strategy, I'd tell any of you, God's not making any more land, but there are lots of domain names out there. Now there's a very strategic way you want to identify names and purchase names. Short names aren't there anymore. You're not going to go out there and find reach.com and teach.com. Those are long gone. But lots of phrases are out there. So I actually have created a strategy of phrases. My experience at Tech taught me how to create an algorithm to actually put words together in combination and then go and review the catalog and figure out which ones are good. And some of the proceeds that we got from selling the name, I bought a really huge catalog of names, and I've actually sold 2 of them since I've had the catalog. So I know I got something there. And how did I get it? I got it through DGSA, sweat equity, getting dogged a little bit, but just kind of remembering what's valuable and what's important and just kind of staying true to what you're about. I encourage you to go look up ubp.com now, and I won't spoil that surprise for you. But the day I looked it up after the new owners had purchased it, I just started laughing, man, when I realized the project that they were fronting and why they wouldn't tell me anything about it. And it just made the whole situation make total sense to me as to why they paid me what I asked for. Now, I know you're dying to know how much we got. modesty prevents me from telling you, but just take from this the nugget that sweat and even despair and turmoil pays off as long as you're doing something that you believe in, and as long as you're willing to appear crazy to other people, because you may know something a little different than them, and they just don't get what you're seeing.